Davie here, Thursday in Singapore for this week's data space analysis. This week we're going to be talking about verified data and the cost to organizations. So we're going to kick off with a couple articles here. The first one's from Gartner, and dates back to June of 19th of 2018 here. It's how to create a business use case for data quality improvement. So with all the advents of companies investing in data, big data systems, investing I think over $180 billion in the last year. I think it's going up to $280 billion by 2020. That companies are under pressure to start extracting value from data and get an ROI. And the last thing that a CIO wants to say is that there's a data quality issue. But the reality is there's still many problems with data quality within organizations. This Gartner report discusses that the average company believes that they lose around $15 million per year based on decisions from bad data. This data can come from anything from internal, from their own systems, from their employees, but also from their suppliers and third parties. So business decisions that are being made, unfortunately, are being made with incorrect data. So a lot of people don't want to think about this or even want to admit that their data could be wrong, especially after investing heavily into the systems and processes to create data. So this reminds me of actually a use case that I was discussing earlier on today with another client, that when you look at in the ad tech space, the funny thing is that when people are, so say you're an FMCG and you're trying to do an ad campaign for shampoo, and so you're buying segment data from an agency, and then they're saying, okay, all these users have purchased shampoo in the last 2 months, they're going to be a good candidate. But these agencies are sourcing data from many different parties, and within that there may be bad actors who are feeding them incorrect data segments. They're saying that these users actually do purchase X product or do enjoy this product, and then the agencies package this data all together and sell these segments to an FMCG who uses their ad campaigns. Well, now the ad campaign company now invests tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in the production and execution of ad campaigns. Then they don't see the uptake. They don't see the ROI on their ad campaigns. So they think, oh, our ads were wrong. Or maybe the designs were wrong. But when reality is that they were making business decisions and investments in the advertising based on false segments, false data that got into the ecosystem. And this is one of the things that needs to be eradicated in the data supply chain, is that these agencies are purchasing from third parties who may even be collecting from other third parties, and there are bad actors in this space. The FMCG, the end user of the data, has no visibility on where this data actually originated from. They just hope blindly and wish blindly that they trust the agency to be providing them the correct segments, the correct data, the correct targets, customers to target. But in reality, they're incentivized to give them more segments. All the first people who are creating the data get paid by volume of segments. They provide these agencies who pay these people, pay these data firms based on the volume of data that they send in. How many segments, how many users have you identified who enjoy these products, so we can go then target ads to them. And any Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson or any FMCG, when they're purchasing these segments, that what they can do is that they say, okay, we want to target X million people. And so they're also incentivizing the agency to provide them more people, and they're getting paid on this. And so there's a lot of bad actors in this space, and there's no clarity on where this data is coming from. So that's actually one of the things at Quadrant with what we're doing with the stamping, is what we're doing that once the data is created at the beginning of the value chain. So once it's created, it gets stamped, and as that data then goes, in this case, consumer segments, that the end consumer now can go verify and find out and work backwards on who provided what and what was the data at the point of creation. And so this sort of gives compliance and audit to it. Gives accountability to the different data providers to ensure that what they're providing is actually truthful because of this audit trail. And this brings us to the second article. And always remember, go to the description to get links to the articles. This goes back to a Harvard Business Review article a while ago in 2013, but it's still relevant today. It talks about knowledge workers and the credibility problem with data. And one of the things that they pointed out is that knowledge workers spend about 50% of their time sourcing, cleaning, and verifying data. This is still a manual process where when knowledge workers, data scientists need to actually verify where data come from to make sure it's trustworthy. It's a time-consuming process that at Quadrant Protocol we're looking to automate. So we've displayed previously online in conferences when we released one of our integrations with our Quadrant Python libraries, where data scientists will actually be able to, inside their workflows, be able to verify the data prior to consuming it. And this is a really important thing, that you'll want to be able to verify that the data you're about to consume is still in the original state. So once data is stamped within Quadrant Protocol, then when you're running your algorithms, right before you run it, after you load in the data, you can verify at first that it is in its original state. And this is very important because all the decisions that are made after that are based on the original data, and so you don't want to have your algorithm spit out basically false data. It could be false marketing reports. This one actually talks about something that really important, which is very relevant, is you have to think about what errors can occur. If it's in the lab or in the healthcare space, an incorrect laboratory result can result in somebody dying. That's just the truth of the matter. As we become more and more dependent on data, and for diagnosis in the medical space, you want to make sure that you're not making the incorrect life or death decision. When we go back to the marketing case I mentioned, if you're going to show an ad to somebody that you believe they're in some target demographic and they're not because this data is false, this is going to be an extremely big problem because it's going to cost your business a lot of money. In the financial space, if all of a sudden you're making an investment decision, imagine if you're taking and scraping news from the internet and you're pulling it off and you're getting incorrect data. And then you're making a big investment decision based on this. Imagine what this can cost you and your business, your firm, from investing off of false data. So in all these use cases, that a little slight error in the data can have big repercussions for the business itself. So on that note, I'm going to end off this week's talk on verified data. Please leave comments below if you have any questions or you'd like to cover different topics. Please do subscribe, hit the like button, and do click on the articles to learn a little bit more of the industry. Thank you.